Hey guys, it's your boy, the Nomad Recruiter, Aijalonwallace. Wallace. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. As you guys know, I make videos about traveling and recruitment, and I teach people how to start the recruitment and staffing company at nomadrecruiters.com. So check out the website when you get a chance. You also can book a consultation call with me if you're struggling with your agency anytime. The links are below. So look, today we're going to be talking about agency recruitment versus internal recruitment, okay? And I'm just going to give you my points of views on it, what the difference is, and if you're deciding on which type of recruitment should you go to, okay? So in the agency world, it's just like the Wolf of Wall Street. It's very salesy. It's very, it's very hard. It's very tough. It's long hours. Of course, there's potential to make more money, and that's what agency recruiter, that's why it's so much better. That's why it's different. Often what you see, usually your agency recruiters, they usually work from 9 a.m. to sometimes 7, sometimes 10 o'clock at night, depending on the agency, depending on the country as well. They work some long hours. It just depends on what type of agency you work for. At an agency recruitment company, you usually have a lot more freedom. You're more of an entrepreneur. You don't really have a boss, but sometimes you may get clients given to you, but you still have to meet a quota. Like, it's a lot of pressure to meet your KPIs. But once again, you may get a low salary. So depending on when you're starting off, if you start off as a junior, you may be making anywhere between 30 and 50K, mid between 50 to 70, and then senior maybe to 70 to 100,000 ideally. And then you're going to get a commission percentage based off of that. Percentages can range various off of how much commission, the commission tiers, how many deals you do. It can be a lot of different ways that the commission can be structured at the end of the day. It also could be a lot of ways that you can negotiate your salary, where you may ask for a lower salary and a higher commission in the day. I think if you work in the agency space and you really are a believer of your results at the end of the day, I will always advise people to go with lower salary and a higher commission, because you're going to put the work in. You might as well get rewarded for the work that you're putting in. So with an agency recruitment company as well, it's usually a big office. There's a lot of recruiters in there. A lot of people are on the phones. It's a lot of pressure. It can be a lot of high energy as well. Sometimes it can be hard having a social life because you're working for that dollar bill at the end of the day. And then it's a lot of pressure as well sometimes to be in the office. A lot of agency recruitment companies are still old school, where they're still not letting people work remotely as much as possible as well. Now, if we jump into the internal side, it's more relaxed. It's usually maybe you in the office by yourself, or you're able to work from home. You usually start off with a higher salary because you don't get a commission, but you may get a bonus incentive. Sometimes starting off in the agency world, a lot of people, even if you're, let's say you're a junior in the agency world and you worked internal, an agency recruiter in the junior space probably start off between 30 to 50 versus someone in the internal space may start off between 70 and 80. So often we see like a lot of internal recruiters, especially if depending on what type of recruiting they're doing, they can go up as high as I've seen anywhere from the 150 to 250K salaries, just depending and based on experience. But at the end of the day, think about working internal. It's not a lot of pressure. You do have KPI, you have goals and KPIs, but it's not as much pressure. Like, it's not money focused pressure, so it's not geared behind money. It's more geared behind building out these teams and handling these projects, to get finished before the quota. So it's not money, driven compared to the agency world. And the conversation is very different. On the internal side, you see a lot more empathy, a lot more emotional intelligence. It's not, like I said, the pressure is different. It's a lot more communicating directly with the hiring manager to understand what they want and what they're looking for. And it really helps you at the end of the day, when you're trying to, grow. I guess if you want to be in an environment that's not that much pressure. So I will say this: if you are someone that can't handle stress and high pressure, you definitely want to be on the internal side. It will be stressful sometimes, but you have a lot more control of how your day go about and how relaxed it is. The offices on the internal side are always much more beautiful. Like I said, it's much more you getting your work done and then leaving early sometimes, or just working from home. It's not as stressful as far as when it comes to micromanaging at the end of the day. And I think that's why I like the internal side. And I have a couple friends that work on the internal side at the end of the day. I feel like you have a social life on the internal side as well. You do a lot more, you get a lot more things for the office, a lot more like free food, a lot more gifts, because people are always, you know, trying to spoil the, you know, the internal recruiters at the end of the day. So you get a lot of gifts and prizes. I remember when I was an agency recruiter, I was always buying the internal recruiters like chocolates and wines and taking them out to fancy dinners because I was kissing their ass to try to get them to work with my agency. So you do get spoiled on the internal side. I feel like the internal side is much better as well for a lot of people who are trying to have families. I think I mentioned this before in one of my videos called, you know, what it's like to date a recruiter as well, you know, but I choose agency every day. I think I'll never, you know, like I always choose the agency side. When I work for an agency, like I said, some of my friends that were starting off, that were working internal, yeah, they were making like $5-7 grand a month versus to me, where I was making $20,000 or $30,000 a month. So it was a big difference, you know, it was a big difference, especially during the time where, you know, depending on where you live. I was living in Australia, which was extremely expensive. I think my rent was almost $3,000 or $4,000 a month. It was a lot of money, but of course, you know, I was getting those commission checks, so I had no worries. Hakuna Matata at the end of the day. So, you know, one of the things that, you know, but I cannot stress this enough. I just feel like the agency world is very Wolf of Wall Street. There are a few agencies that are, you know, shifting, becoming more innovative, becoming more EI focused, more emotional intelligence focused. They're shifting the culture of what the agency world is, but also you have to understand when you work in the agency world, you are competing with some hungry, relentless, you know, ruthless, do whatever it takes recruiters at the end of the day. And if you don't like competition or you can't handle competition, you may be better off on the internal side at the end of the day. Like I said, the money component, once you get good and if you believe in yourself, I mean, well, shit, you can make anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year, versus often with internal recruiters, they stay within their salary range because that's the highest that they go. Often, you know, if they start off at 100, the highest they'll probably be able to go is 120 or 130, if that, depending on the company at the end of the day. The great thing about recruitment overall, recruitment is universal all around the world. And, you know, I love it. The fact that you work for an agency side, a lot of people in the internal side do like hiring agency recruiters because they move fast. They know how to find things faster. They have a lot more sales ability to convince candidates to take the job, to sell companies. So a lot of internal companies do like hiring agency recruiters because it saves them a lot of time and a lot of money versus working with other recruitment agencies, or, you know, at the end of the day. So if you come from an agency and you want to go internal, it's a great selling point for yourself because you can prevent a lot of internal companies spending $20,000 or $30,000 on people like us at the end of the day. So, you know, you got agency, you got internal at the end of the day. It's a lot to think about if you guys are, you know, looking to jump into it. It's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons. I think like if I was to go internal, it would have to be for like a Google or a Facebook or an Uber, you know, where you're getting free food, you get a free gym, free cars. I think I need to be spoiled, you know, to walk away from the money potential that you're making on the agency side, you know, because it's just like, man, when you go internal, and, you know, you're still going to be working with other agency recruiters. And sometimes it does something to you because you're working with these agency recruiters and you're making 100, 150,000. And this guy or this woman just made 30 grand off of just working with you, where you do the same job and you're not making as much as them. So imagine that recruiter making that 30 grand from just you, and you're an internal recruiter and they're an agency recruiter. They just made $30,000 off that deal. Imagine them doing 7 of those in 1 month. Yeah, it gives you a whole different perspective now compared to your 130 or your 150 you're making a year. And that's the beautiful thing about working on the agency side. You know, the money potential is always good. You know, like I said, make sure you interview with multiple agencies and multiple internal companies as well. You know, sometimes versus just choosing the money, culture is very important. You want to work with an organization where you can, you know, where it feels like family, where you feel like friends, where you feel accepted, where you feel wanted. You know, I just think that's so important. It's so much important for me to be in an environment where I feel at home, because you're going to be working with, you know, on the agency side, you're going to be working with some of these recruiters. 7 days a week. You're gonna be with them all the time because it's just a part of the culture. You're gonna spend more time with them than you are with your friends or family. Any job, any 9 to 5, you're always gonna spend more time at these jobs than you are with your friends and family. And it's important that you feel comfortable. It's important that you feel safe. It's important that you are able to be yourself. If you have to go into an organization and change and be somebody you're not gonna last long at that company, and why waste your time? Listen, if you like this video, I need you to hit that like button. I need you to subscribe to the channel. You should support your boy. Check out the free training if you want more recruitment content. You can also get a physical copy of nomadrecruiters.com on Amazon, or you can get a free copy as well. And you can check out nomadrecruiters.com. We just updated the website if you are looking to start your recruitment and staffing agency. I can't wait to see you guys soon. I do appreciate you for supporting the channel, okay?